Go.
Alright, so the concept of the class today is to give you some ideas about bilingualism. To understand, bilingualism is very important because 1 in every 2 people in the world is bilingual, and especially bilingualism is on the rise in the world. So you can see in many different parts of the world, in different societies, people are speaking more than 2 languages. So first of all, before the lesson starts, I want to give you an outline of the lesson today. So I will start by giving you some introduction about the bilingualism, the definition of bilingualism as well. Then I will divide the class to different groups. Based on the questions that I prepared today, you are going to discuss with your partners. Then we'll be talking about the myths about bilingualism. Then before the class finishes, I will ask some of the students to give me some feedbacks about what you have learned today in the class. Then lastly, I will give you some tasks to do at home. So before I begin, anybody have any questions? All right, let's begin. So a very widely used definition on bilingualism is based on a holistic view, which focuses on the use of languages instead of emphasizing on language proficiency. So François Grosjean is a very famous scholar who is famous for his work on bilingual language acquisition. So he has done a lot of linguistic academic research for a wider audience. What that means is that he uses like a real life or bilingual as an example to talk about how they usually communicate with one another instead of just looking at bilingualism as an academical concept. So as I quote, the definition by François Grosjean is bilinguals are those who use 2 or more languages or dialects in their everyday lives. So it's very important that now you think about this definition, and before we continue with the next activity, you should think about the definition and find a partner and talk about the 3 questions I prepared. So first one is, are you bilingual? Is your family bilingual? The next one is, how many languages do you speak and to which extent? The last one is, which approach do you use when communicating with family members or with different speakers, especially when you have to think about in different social contexts? How do you use the languages in your linguistic repertoire? So now I'll give you 5 minutes with your partner, and meanwhile, I'll be walking around the classroom. So if you have any questions, you can ask me when I'm going near you, all right? So that's the start. Okay, brilliant. All right, so I can see that this discussion is actually quite active. So the next one, we'll be talking about some myths that are organized by François Grosjean. He has organized a lot of myths in his own book. The name is Bilingual Life and Reality. It was published in 2010 by Harvard University Press. And today we'll be talking about some facts and to clear up the myths that along the way. So first one is bilingualism is a rare phenomenon. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree on the statement? So actually this is a wrong myth because as we already mentioned in the beginning of the class, that 1 of each 2 people is bilingual. So by that means it's actually half of the population in the world is bilingual. So they have the ability in talking in 2 or more languages. So actually, even in the countries that have many monolinguals, but the percentage of the bilinguals are majority. And the second myth is bilinguals acquire their 2 or more languages in childhood. This is actually a very popular common myth. It is fine to think about some children, they acquire different languages when they are young, but actually people are becoming bilingual even when they're in the teenage years or even when they're adults. So some others, they might learn another language due to the immigration or intermarriage or even education. So to keep in mind that bilinguals are talking about the people who have the command in 2 or more languages. Then the myth number 3 is bilinguals, they have equal and perfect command in all of their languages. So this is a very, very common myth that people tend to think that bilinguals, they are balanced bilinguals. What that means is that they have perfect command in all of their languages. So we need to consider that some of the people might use one of the languages very fluently, but they might not know how to use or how to write another language. But that doesn't determine that they are not bilingual, because based on Agost's definition of bilingualism, is the people who have the command in the use of 2 more languages in their daily life. So myth number 4 is real bilinguals, they have no accents in their different languages. So this is actually very popular, it's a very popular myth as well. Because having an accent or not does not determine whether you are more or less bilingual. In fact, some of the people, they might be they are extremely competent in 2 of the languages, but they might have a lot of accents. So number 5 is bilingualism will delay language acquisition in children. And this myth is very popular back in the middle of the 20th century. What that means is that people believe that when children, they start learning languages when they are very young, they might encounter many challenges, or some of them believe that they might become like dyslexia. But based on some research that have shown, bilingual children, maybe some of them might delay in their learning process, but it doesn't show that the problem they have, bilingual children will have more than those children who are monolinguals. So we have to keep in mind that bilingualism does not affect the speed of the language acquisition. So I only give you 5 of the myths today, but there are actually a few more, and then I print them out on the handout, and I will give you out today. This is going to be one of the tasks today. So the first one is I want you to read the article that I prepared here, which I will pass out in a little bit. The second one is I want you to write up a report about 800 to 1,000 words based on the reflection that you have, that you learned today in the class, and as well as the article that you have read. Lastly, here is my email. If you have any questions, or when you are studying, when you're reading the article, you have any questions, you can ask me. Send me an email to this address, or you can ask me after the class today. Lastly, I will give you some references about some articles and books about bilingualism. If you're interested, you can go to the library and borrow it. So if you have any questions, I'm here for you. So thank you.